Hey everybody, Larry Bailey here, Mortgage Workflow Partners. We are live in the community today for another Mastering Encompass live event. Today is all about post-closure best practices, post-close like a master in Encompass. Because let's face it, if our post-closing team doesn't deliver that file, we ain't getting paid, and that's a bad thing. So shout out to all our post-closures out there as everybody's rolling in. Today is November 30th at 1 p.m. We meet every Thursday. As much as possible, as long as it's not a holiday or something. We meet every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern as a community to talk about all things important in the community. Try to have a topic. As a PSA here, just as a reminder, we've only got, I think it's 2 more weeks of scheduled meetings, and we're going to break for holidays. And then next year, we're going to start with Journey to the Web. So Encompass Journey to the Web is a formatted program. Obviously, we're going to have our conversations first because the community always comes first, but I do want to make sure that we do keep topics in mind because at this point, I don't know if it's public knowledge or not, but ICE is released out on the TPO side, the ability for brokers to self-disclose. It's on limited availability. I fortunately am on some projects rolling that out, and it is super slick. And then also it's coming to the web for disclosures to be on the consumer or Encompass on the website. And I expect that to be super slick too. And all this is all about leveraging native functionality, leveraging the ICE mortgage technology platform even more. That's what they want. It's personally what I want too. I want to make sure that we're actually getting way more than we're paying for. I know Encompass can be very, very cost prohibitive to some companies, but a lot of times that's because you're using a lot of extra technology to get the job done, and just not what you need to do. So welcome to everybody who came today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. First of all, for those that are just joining us maybe for the first time, use the chat feature there. You can also, if you have a question, you want to come up on stage kind of a thing here. It's a screen share, audio share. It's all done through the screen here. So again, for those just joining, our topic today is post-closure for best practices. So show of hands in chat. Anybody ever held the position of post-closer in the last forever? Danielle. So Danielle, were you post-closing when we were all using paper files? Jolene, same question for you. Kayla, for you. See, this kind of goes to my point. Look at everybody who was a post-closer. Kirsten, Kayla, and Jolene and Danielle and Larry, of course. I find more money in the post-closing department, almost obviously not compared to secondary because that can be a lot of money too. But post-closing operationally, Danielle and for others who dealt with paper files, did you work with your transition into electronic files? For those that were part of that, were you part of the group that moved from paper to electronic? And if you were, my next question is, you started after the transition. So my next question, of course, is how much is still paper? And this is still happening today. It's 2023. You still have some closing agents, some attorneys who refuse to upload to the loan center for whatever reason. They still, I know with some places, they actually will literally drop off the closing package at your doorstep, or they'll FedEx it or whatever. And it's crazy. So one of the things that I'm also interested in, those that are on the call, how many of you who have worked in post-closing are advocating for e-closing? Obviously in post-closing, there's a lot that goes into it depending on the channel of business. Post-closing for a brokered loan means you want to make sure that you got the check you were supposed to. Post-closing for a banked retail loan means you're chasing down the note, making sure it gets to your custodian, making sure it gets delivered, making sure you know what you're dealing with in terms of your secondary team, if they've delivered it to investor A or B, or if they've changed their mind, you've got to pull the note back and re-deliver it. Kayla's like, we still have packages being dropped off at your doorstep, like in little bundles of joy, I'm sure. And so I'm bringing this up because e-closing is very expensive unless you're a very good negotiator with third-party platforms like Optimal Blue. or not Optimal Blue, I don't know why I said that, but with Blend or with Simple Nexus, because you've got to pay not only for the front, but then you also have to pay for the back. And, you know, that can get quite pricey. So for those that are listening and watching, if you're not using eNotes, figure out how to get there. It was just in LinkedIn, somebody who did a big press release that they hit, I don't know, like 1 million eNotes or something for the year. I'm sure that's the totally exaggerated number, but it was a lot of their business was going eNote. And why is that important for post-closing? Why are we talking about this? Why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because in post-closing, you're typically the end of the line. You see all the problems. You're dealing with all your investor conditions. You're dealing with your notes. You're delivering with deadlines. You're getting yelled at possibly by teams because they're losing money every day. You don't get the loan purchased. It can be a very rewarding position. It can be a very challenging one. And so what I wanted to spend on time today is really talk through a lot of this stuff to see what everybody's doing, and then also give you some ideas about how to manage it better. So if you're watching this video, you can see the full piece if you come over to Mortgage.Community. If you're listening to this on podcast, thank you very much. But hop over to the community to watch and follow along because I'm going to do some screen share.